Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to part 4 of the little video series I'm doing here on this 57 F100 with the Crown Vic install. Hopefully this is the last video on this for quite a while. I'm done with the chassis work. I'm going to give it back to the owner here. It's a friend of mine. And I thought I'd do a little walk around. I actually had an inquiry about the status of the 57. Thank you for that. If you're watching, you know who you are. And I'm just going to do a real fast walk around hopefully and explain some of the things I did, some of the parts I used, and try to get some of the pictures and the part numbers and whatnot of the parts I use. So if you're thinking about doing something like this, maybe a little insight on what you need to order and how to go about getting it. Now, the parts are really available these days for these Crown Vic swaps. They're super popular. A lot of guys are doing them, maybe girls too. And so there is a lot of parts available now to make the job a lot easier. So I hadn't had a video for quite a while. I think it's been like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe since I posted my last video on the truck. 21, I got this truck in 20 at the end of the year. I started working on it, got the Crown Vic front end put in, and this is part of the delay and why I haven't had a video so long. 21 was a rough year. I had a torn distal tendon, so I had to get surgery on my right bicep, put that back together. I recouped from that, and then I started having my more back issues. I got a bad back, so in August my back went out, and I was supposed to get surgery in September, and September rolls around. I ended up with COVID pneumonia, hospitalized for 3 weeks, ventilator, all that good stuff. And then I got back home from that and recouped and started rehabbing from that. And then on December 20th in 21, well, I had a spinal fusion, L345. So that put me out of the scene for a while. So in 21, I probably worked on this truck maybe 2 months out of that year, out of 21. And 22, I spent rehabbing for most of the year, and then I got back on it, and now I'm done. I got the rear end all put in, the 4 links all done. We're gonna just kind of go over that and give you a quick overview and see the finished product here before the truck leaves my shop. So with that being said, here we go. We're gonna do a little walk around tour of this thing and see what it looks like. Here's the completed front end. Last video had it all in, the main part of the front end, the suspension, but now everything's hooked up. I got the steering hooked up. You can see this has a brand new steering column in it from Summit Racing. The D shaft and U-joint assemblies I ordered off of Amazon. This joint right here, it was a 3-piece kit. Came with the special joint that the Ford takes. It's like a little triangle joint inside there, and then it goes to a 3/4 double D shaft on both ends. And all I did was I bought 1 length of shaft and 2 joints, cut the shaft, and put like 6 inches of it up inside the steering column, and had to make sure the geometry was all correct. It wouldn't turn at first because it was binding up, a little bit too much angle on the steering column, so I had to change the angle of that. Got that all dialed in. There's a kit you buy for these 2 hose fittings right here. I got the kit, but it was the wrong one. The last Crown Vic I put in, it was perfect. I ordered the kit, and it was the right parts, and you have your power steering hoses made. So I have to reorder that stuff. That's why the new parts are not in there right now to show you. Performance Online, power brake booster, 7-inch, GM style, 4-wheel disc brake master cylinder. That's all hooked up. I did all the brake lines. I'm not very good at the brake line stuff. I'm getting better, but it's not my strong suit, that's for sure. But I did manage to get everything hooked up. The brakes are all bled. They all work. Good firm pedal. Kind of hard to tell really with a power booster with no vacuum, but it feels good. The brakes work, so we're moving on. So that's the finished product, POR 15. Metal prep, frame paint, stuff works great. Just make sure you get the frame really cleaned off because you don't want to encapsulate any serious rust, because that stuff is like an armored shell when you put it on. There's the brackets I made to mount the rear of the control arm. Oh, brake line adapters for the Crown Vic. This is a 10 millimeter to 3/16 brake adapter. This is metric, this is your adapter, and then your 3/16 brake line. Readily available. You buy them 2 at a time. I got those on Amazon from the Stop Shop. Moving into the cab, Summit Racing's GM style steering column, tilt, regular turn signals. On the other side we have the hazard lights, 8-bolt steering wheel mount, so he'll have to get a steering wheel for that. floor plate. I had to make that floor plate. It was missing. Piece of cake, 16 gauge sheet metal, cut it out, put some holes in it. And then I had to make the hole for this swivel style floor mount for the steering column. Works really great. The 2.5-inch drop I purchased wasn't enough drop. I need to clean it. So I took the factory old 57 steering wheel mount, cut it, welded a piece of a flat stock on the bottom of it down here, a couple holes in it, and dropped it down another couple inches. And now it's like perfectly aligned. So that's the steering column. Now for the back. Yeah, the inquiry was, hey, what's up with that? Because where I left it was, I still have to do the rear end. So what we have here is an 8.8 out of a Ford Explorer. Obviously it has the offset differential. The reason we went with the Explorer and not with the Crown Vic 8.8 is because this is narrower by like 3 inches. If you put the Crown Vic rear end in, I mean, you can go with a 9-inch or whatever you want, but the Crown Vic rear end is really wide. So the track width on this rear diff compared to the track width on the front is 3 to 4 inches. I can't remember. I have to measure it again, but it is quite a bit narrower, which will allow you to put a really big fat wheel underneath it and still have a little bit of a dish. These are the positive offset wheels. He thinks they came off a Mustang or something, but you can see how the rear wheel is inset. Okay, that's going to allow him to actually put a wider wheel on, get a little more inset if he wants a positive offset, or get a nice little dish going on the back. I like a dished wheel. I'm kind of old school that way. So he can probably put a 10-inch wheel, no problem, up under the fender well and actually bring it out a little bit to where it's flush just up underneath the fender well. If you see the front, it has those same positive offset wheels. They're flush with the body line. So he may have to go a little bit more inset, a narrower wheel on the front, because I think they're going to rub the front fenders. So anyway, the rear end, it was a big deal. We were going to drop this 8.8 in, but we were going to have to replace the leaf springs, the bushings, shackles. Everything was a mess. It was all rusted up. And we said, hey, what about a 4-link? He said, yeah, let's do a 4-link. And I said, okay, bring me a 4-link. But I was kind of like wanting Heim joints, something adjustable. I want a fully adjustable rear end. Well, he brought me this kit that goes under like a competition engineering or like an Art Morrison back half. And it's for a drag race setup. But I said, you know what? I'll work with what the kit has and I'll modify it to fit. And we'll install a drag style, you know, fully adjustable ride height, angles. You can adjust the wheelbase. I have this at 115 inches right now. And you can adjust actually caster if you want. No camber, obviously. It's a fixed solid rear end, but it's fully adjustable setup. So what I did was use the competition engineering shocks, and because it's a street rig, I mounted them at a canted angle to give a little more stability in the turns and whatnot, make it ride really nice. And it unfortunately doesn't have the spanner nuts on it to adjust it, but it is, you know, it has the adjustable brackets for 1-inch increments. So if he wants to lower it down a little bit, he can go down like two more slots and drop it down probably another 2 inches in the back if he wants to. But I really like the stance of it. It's level and it's down about 3 inches beyond stock. So Panhard sway bar, I ended up having to bend it because it wouldn't mount anywhere without hitting. So I put a little bend in it to give me some more clearance. And I ended up cutting the little fins off right here that go between, that protects the speed sensor. And he's going to have a manual speedometer anyway. So all I did was I trimmed off the speed sensor and then I used it to plug the hole without any modifications to the actual cast steel center section there. Here's the other side. Yeah, I had to fabricate all these brackets. I took the parts that came with the kit, cut them, made them fit, and then I made all this piece around here, bolted it to the frame, and it has a piece underneath also. You can see the other side there. I don't know if it's going to come out or not, but they bolt up underneath the frame rail as well. Of course, I had to do a little boxing over the axle to do the mounts for the shocks, the panhard bar, and I got plenty of clearance there, so I didn't have to C-notch anything. There's 5 inches right there between the axle and the frame rail. Stock Explorer brake lines all fit. Everything fits. So it's just like put it all in. This brake line here is the Explorer brake line off the rear end to the 3/16 brake line on the truck. No adapters. It fits right in. Fuel cell 20 gallons. Jegs fuel pump assembly and filter. Mounted all that. It's designed to come out from the bottom. So I built this tray underneath here. These straps that hold it up. All you got to do is take an extension and a ratchet and a 9/16 socket. Pull those down. The fuel cell falls out the bottom. You don't have to take the bed off. Gonna have to cut a hole in the bed floor though for the filler, which he's fine with because he's not building a work truck to haul stuff. He's building a street truck. Supposed to get a 512 stroke 460 in it. He has all the parts for that, so he has to put all that together. Got all the extra fuel line is just strapped up here. It's going to go under the cab, obviously, up to the front when it's time. Whew, excuse me for running out of breath. The COVID really did a number on me, so I run out of breath really fast, and I'm trying to talk kind of fast and get this video done. Brakes are all new on the back. New calipers, new pads, new rotors, new emergency brake shoes. Factory Explorer emergency brake line cables. So when I was manufacturing all this stuff, I was just thinking that the brake cables went inside the frame rail, but I'm stupid like that, and I didn't mock it up. I just thought I'll just run them down the frame rail. Well, I got all done, everything painted, everything mounted, and I was like, oh man, they go on the outside. Duh, that was dumb of me, and I knew that. So I had to make this little bracket to mount them just right here. I mean, it's no problem at all. It goes up under the truck and it lines right up with the emergency brake cable that goes from the factory on the truck. But he's going to have to get like an Explorer or a Crown Vic emergency brake pedal assembly to mount inside the cab to make it all work. So that's it. It's done. It's ready to leave my garage and go to the next steps at his place. I may see it back for the engine install. They do make motor mounts that adapt big block straight to the Crown Vic front end, so I don't have to manufacture anything there. There's going to be a lot of header clearance. That shouldn't be an issue. If it does come back to me, of course I'll make another video, but I don't know if it will. Anyway, that's it. This thing is ready to roll out of here and go back to the owner. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate the inquiry. That's what got me prompted to do this video, and I don't know, it's done. Thanks again for watching. Enjoy your day. Bye.